Hello, good morning, and welcome to this Dawn Busters Taste Challenge. Wanted to start a little earlier, but I wasn't able to make it. Just couldn't get it done. Wasn't playing around either. Okay, Stedman Select. Oh, got it backwards. Sorry. I always like to put the older one first, but I screwed up. George Dickel, nice embossed neck. George Dickel, Tennessee Sour Mash, Superior 12 recipe. Produced in Tennessee by Diageo, who owns Dickel. The company is called Cascade Hollow Distilling Company, but it is Diageo. If you want to find out, James Frias says, "Aye, Ron. Hello, good morning to you." So that's the Dickel 12, aged 7 to 9 years, 90 proof, introduced in 1964. Replacing a whiskey called Cascade whiskey. Is Cascade still produced? You never know about these things because sometimes the companies don't want to lose the trademark, so they'll produce it in very small quantities and just sell it in a few locations. So if I went to Tennessee and I was shopping around, I wouldn't be totally shocked if I ran across Cascade whiskey from Cascade Hollow Distilling, Diageo, some cheap, $8.99 product. The competitor is Stedman Select. And I was saying produced by I.W.A. Distilling for Walmart. I.W.A. Distilling in Louisville, Kentucky. Distilled bottle and barrel aged in Kentucky. Yes, slow matured in select American white oak barrels, 86 proof. Kentucky straight bourbon whiskey. The legendary Stedman's, yeah, from 2018. But they do talk about Ebenezer Hiram Stedman and his brother Sam opening a mill complex in 1833. So you can read the back of the bottle, give you a history of that. So it's actual people. Age 36 months. Here's the funny thing. We're about to look at the funny thing. Breakfast stout time in Medford, New Jersey, says James Frias. John Anile says, really cool guy gave me a bottle of Stedman Select once. He must have been an awesome guy. He drove to your house and brought you a bottle of Stedman Select? I mean, that's a little extreme. But if he did it, that was cool. Let's see, what was I going to say? I was watching the Bourbon County 2018 Stout review, Goose Island Bourbon County 2018 Stout, Bourbon Barrel Stout, but I had to turn it off to do this. So they were doing very interesting examination of that. So, but I'll go back and continue watching it. Yes, good morning, says Casey Phantom 209. James Frias says same at John Anile. Julie Gilpin says good morning, Ron. Hey, Jules. Thanks for watching. Thanks to the whole gang. But here's the funny thing about this product. And you can tell it's the same ancient age bottle, big Jack Daniel's mimic bottle, but it is the same as ancient age. Benchmark. Remember Benchmark? McAfee's old number 8 Benchmark. Here's the weird thing. I'm at Total Wine 2 days ago, right? Right. I'm looking around. I said, let me go look at the bourbon. I'm looking at all kind of bourbons. And then I looked at the bottom shelf and I was like, gasp. Stedman Select, big bottles. I said, wait. $18.99. Oh, I was thinking it was more. I must have looked at the wrong tag. It's 19. It's about 50 cents more at Walmart. $18.99 for this big bottle. I thought it was a Walmart private label brand, but then how could that be? Because Total Wine has it. Same thing with 75 South Blended Whiskey. I said, well, that's a Albertsons brand. Was that Savannah Discount? There it is on the shelf. Caliber Canadian whiskey. I said, that's a Walmart brand. Went to Rouse's. There's Caliber on the shelf. Now, I don't know about you, but I'm pretty sure that Rouse's is not Walmart, and I'm pretty sure that Total Wine is not Walmart, and I'm pretty sure that Savannah Discount is not Albertsons. So much for private label. And of course, private label would mean made only for that store. Like when Dixie selling Thrifty Made canned peas, Thrifty Made was a house brand for Winn-Dixie. Or SE Grocers, Southeastern Grocers. That's the parent company of Winn-Dixie. And so they sell SE Grocers potato chips and whatnot. You're not going to see that anywhere else, I don't think. Okay. So I guess I have to just give up on this idea that it's a Walmart house brand because I'm seeing it at Total Wine. I'm looking at the website. At the website. Now, $18.99 for a big handle bottle of bourbon whiskey is a great deal. Because think about it. $18.99. You're getting a huge bottle, 1,000 extra milliliters over a regular size bottle. Secondly, it's aged 3 years. Well, you say that's not that impressive. It's still a year longer than it's required to be aged. And thirdly, it's 86 proof. Oh, and fourth, sour mash, Kentucky. So it's sort of like a jacked up ancient age, because ancient age is 80 proof and it's aged 3 years sour mash, but this is stronger. So it's like they diluted it less. Is it the same as ancient age? I don't know. It tastes similar, but it's not the same if they dilute it, and it's a different recipe. Different recipe. George Dickel, 84% corn, 8% rye whiskey, 8% malt whiskey. In Scotland, they'd call that single malt whiskey. Okay. They're talking. All right, here we go. Appearance. Oh, same. Amber, or what you call tan. Amber or tan. Tan being a light brown. And this is brown spirits. And in New Orleans, when they first started shipping bourbon out through New Orleans, they called it red liquor. That red liquor. They would put it in the charred oak barrels. Well, here's the thing. New Orleans was very important because you had the Appalachian Mountains separating the original 13 colonies from the new territories, the Northwest Territory and the Southwest Territories, south of the Ohio River. But there was no interstate highways back then. And in fact, there was no roads back then, like literally no roads. There were some little rudimentary trails. So they were growing corn in Western Pennsylvania. They were growing corn in Western Virginia. They were growing corn in what's now Kentucky and Tennessee. Okay. People eat cornbread, eat corn grits, eat all just sweet corn on the cob, whatever. But they couldn't sell it to the eastern states for food because, or animal feed. That was a big use, still is, because they couldn't get over the mountains. Well, the only way they could sell the corn was to distill it into alcohol, corn liquor, corn whiskey. They would ship it down the Ohio River, you know, the Allegheny, the Monongahela, the Ohio, the Tennessee River, and that all flows into the Ohio River, which flows into the Mississippi River. What was the only port back then on the Mississippi River? Well, really the only port today, New Orleans. And they would ship it through New Orleans out to go around Florida, back to Savannah, Georgia, you know, New York City, Boston, England, you know, London, England, Paris, France, whatever. Good morning, Ronald. Glad I could catch this early morning taste challenge, says Daryl. Good morning to you. Thanks for joining, man. So there was one little problem. Spain owned New Orleans. And the Spanish were trying to hustle those states and territories by saying, Senor, you're going to pay us lots of money to come through this port. And they're like, well, we'll pay a fee. It's a foreign port. No problem, you know. Beer Hounds Beer Review says, hello, Ron. Dr. Frosty Bruce says, cheers, Ron. Dawn Busters. Right. So they're shipping this. By the time it got to New Orleans in those barrels, it would be red looking like this. And they called it red liquor. Now, this one of the main streets in New Orleans back then, and even today, well, it's not a main street today because this street today would be like Canal Street. But back then, Canal Street was, well, really, they were going to build a canal there. That's why they call it Canal Street, but they never built the canal. That's why the street's so wide. They were going to build the canal, but they just didn't do it. They called it Canal Street. But right next to Canal Street, running north and south, is Bourbon Street, named after the Bourbon royal family of France, the Bourbons. So some people think that it was called Bourbon because of Bourbon Street, and that's a very likely scenario, but we don't know for sure. No one really actually knows why it's called Bourbon. Okay, but that's probably why. The Bourbon dynasty of France, who ruled in France until 1830, really 1848, with the Bourbon Orleans, the cadet branch of the family of Bourbon Orleans. But anyway, the Spanish were really trying to muscle or, squeeze them. And they say, well, you might have to pay a little more. And then finally, these people in Kentucky and Tennessee were saying, look, man, we're not paying more than we agreed on. You're going to charge us a fair price. But they figured you got to come through New Orleans. So in 1795, they said, that's it. You can't come through this port anymore. They closed the port of New Orleans to all American shipping. So that's when the United States under George Washington, President George Washington, started saying, well, looks like we're going to have to attack Spain. They were really planning they were going to invade because they were like, we're going to sell the bourbon. We're going to use that port. Whether they're going to either let us use it for a fee or they're going to give it to us for free in a war that they can't win. So finally, Spain got a little nervous about that. So they say, well, oh, yeah, we could make a deal, senor. You could just pay this much. And they were like, yeah, that sounds better, right? Yes, it's very good. So everything was kind of back to normal, except one little problem. France made Spain give up Louisiana in the year 1800. It didn't really get processed till 1803. That's when the new president, Thomas Jefferson, got very nervous and said, oh, well, we're going to have to go to war with France to get Louisiana because we can't let France set up a huge empire in the United States and block us to take over the West. Plus, they're dangerous anyway with Napoleon, and never know what they'll try to do. So he started plotting to go to war with France. And he said, we'll just have to team up with Great Britain, who we don't even like. But they went to Napoleon and they said, how about if you want to sell New Orleans to us for $10 million, we'll give you $10 million. And Napoleon knew how that worked. It's like, it's an offer you can't refuse. Like, how would you like to sell it in lieu of us invading it? He knew how that worked. So he said, well, I'll tell you what. He didn't really want to go to war with the United States because he wasn't exactly winning the war against Great Britain, that ongoing thing. He said, I got a better deal. How about you can have all of Louisiana for $15 million? And without going back home to ask Thomas Jefferson, the negotiators who were not authorized to buy that, they were kind of like Tony Montana and Scarface say, I'll make a deal with you, Mr. So-so, and Omar was saying, we're not authorized to make a deal like that. But they said, if we go back and we didn't accept this deal, we're going to be in trouble. So they went back and Thomas Jefferson said, that's the best deal in the world. You better be right that you did. They couldn't email back then. Well, you made a great deal. So Napoleon figured, I'll just sell all of Louisiana for $15 million instead of losing all of Louisiana for free, because if they invade, we're going to lose it all and get nothing. So we may as well sell it for $15 million and get $15 million. I need the money anyway. So that's how that worked. But back to this. Interesting story, isn't it? Too early for clinking. No, I clanked. And you say, wow, so bourbon whiskey had a big impact on the Louisiana Purchase and the development of the United States out west. Yeah, it did. Okay. This smells like just stereotypical bourbon whiskey, meaning what? Vanilla, oak, sweetness, char, a little heft to it because it is 86 proof, like Jack Daniels used to be until not that long ago. Jack Daniels used to be 86 proof. Then all of a sudden it dropped to 80 with nobody looking. Okay, now over here. So is a 4 proof difference going to make a big difference? 43% alcohol versus 45, 2%. I don't know. I doubt it, but you never know. Depends on how perceptive your aroma, taste, and your understanding of the body of the product is. I'm pretty good now at picking that up. So this one kind of has that Flintstones vitamin smell, which is making me think it's Dickel, but I can't say. No, George Dickel goes back to 1870. That company's been making whiskey since 1870. And it was the company. You just look at the old bottles. They got advertisements on internet searches from 1901 saying Cascade Hollows, George Dickel, Cascade Whiskey. That's what they say. George Dickel, Cascade Whiskey. But it was called Cascade Whiskey. But I mean, the whole name, if you looked at the old bottle, it was all written out. George Dickel Distillery, Cascade Hollow, Cascade Whiskey. Okay, but then in 1964, they had the rebrand. They decided to kind of go make a more premium product. And that's where you got the George Dickel 8 and 12, and then so on and so forth. Well, it's hard, really, though. I can't quite tell them apart on those. And I'm not going to go too far trying to figure this out. So can I tell these apart on aroma like the last 5 challenges? No, I can't, which is a little surprising to me, but I can't. And next one coming up is later today, I'm planning, is Blanton's. Now, Blanton's is a $60 bottle. I can get it for $55 because the headquarters of Blanton's is in New Orleans. So we tend to get a lot more of it here, and it's a lot cheaper. I've heard people talking about they paid $100 for Blanton's. I'm like, $100? I asked the store manager last month, how much is it? He said 55. I said, okay, I thought 55. And they got people like that are desperate for Blanton's. They'll get like hysterical trying to look for it. But no, but not around here because, like I say, you can get it. But it does sell out in about 2 days. You just got to get your name on the list. Say next time it comes in, I want it. Okay, they'll get it. And it comes in about every 3 months, quarterly. So you got it, man. Okay. It just tastes like sour mash, regular old sour mash bourbon whiskey. The weather's from Tennessee or Kentucky. It doesn't seem to make much difference. There's always people running up talking about, it's not bourbon, it's Tennessee whiskey because they charcoal filter it. And then I have to correct them and say, no, because the charcoal filtering or mellowing has no relevance whatsoever on if something's a bourbon or not a bourbon. In fact, if you read the law, charcoal or filtering are not mentioned in the law. So in other words, the law, what determines bourbon has no relevance to filtering. You can filter it or don't filter it. You can use charcoal or don't use charcoal. It really doesn't matter. It has no bearing on whether something's a bourbon or not. Now, that's a fact. Now, George Dickel, they chill filter their product. They develop that. They brag about it on their website. You know, these days it's like looked down upon. Don't chill filter your whiskey. You'll ruin it, guy. But Dickel says, we developed chill filtering. George Dickel did. And he said it made it cleaner, much better, took all those particles out. And now people say, I want my particles. But they did develop it, and they like to brag about it. And most whiskey these days is chill filtered. Get it really cold, chill it, you dig, and you filter it. Okay. But George Dickel, they love talking about that. And they prominently displayed on their bottle. Chill filtered, charcoal filtered. they mellow it in charcoal. What they do is they let it rest in a charcoal. I was looking at the pictures on their website. It looked like a big old bucket. You know what I'm saying? Like a huge cauldron. And they just let it set in there with the charcoal for like, I don't know, like a week. And then they drain it out. You know, they strain it out. Don't let the charcoal come out. And somehow that makes it better or something. All right. This tastes nice. I mean, they both taste nice. So which one is better? I don't know. Tell me. Well, now there's a very strong and pronounced charred oak taste here. And this one in my left hand. The charcoal is coming out very strong, fast, and furious, like Paul Johnson. I mean, you know, it's coming out strong. So if you like a heavy charred oak taste, and I do, that's not my complaint about bourbon whiskey, really. My complaint about bourbon is it tastes like corn grits. I like eating grits, but to drink it, I wouldn't say I do. So I just don't love that heavy corn taste. I don't hate it. I never said I hate it. I said I don't love it. Okay. Well, that's very nice. Very nice. Now remember the price. George Dickel regular size bottle is $23. The huge handle bottle of Dickel Stedman Select is $18.99 at the same store. $18.99. I can get this big, huge bottle. Nice looking bottle too. Glass, no plastic. Don't play games with me. This is not plastic. At Total Wine for $18.99, it's $5 less, and I get 1,000 milliliters more, and I can't really taste the difference. I'm trying to figure out. I don't even know which is which right now. So who wins? It's pretty obvious who wins. Stedman Select wins. I can't say it's clearly better, but it's $5 cheaper and you get 1,000 more milliliters. It's so light years ahead of Dickel in value that it's laughable. So the winner this morning is very clearly and indisputably Stedman Select. But I've been bragging on this for 2 years now. How does Sazerac make money? You say Sazerac, you said I.W.A. Distilling. I know, but that's who owns it. Sazerac owns them. How do they make money off of it selling it so cheap? I don't know. Maybe they figure they make $1 a bottle and they just sell a lot of it. It's going to catch on. I mean, I'll see it at Walmart. Now I'm seeing it at Total Wine. They didn't start stocking it because they thought it was going to set on the shelf. They stocked it because they knew that thing was going to start moving. Now, Total Wine is like the king of private label. Like everything is a private label. They got private label for everything. But to me, it all looks fake. You know, I mean, the product's not fake. It's made by reputable companies like Diageo and especially Sazerac. There's nothing fake. The labels look, I don't know. It's like right next to Crown Royal is Ensign Red. I say, who in the world is Ensign Red? And then I say, oh, yeah, okay. Private label. And I'm sure it tastes just as good and all that. So a lot of people going to Total Wine probably think that Stedman Select, they're saying, oh, that's a Total Wine private label. Yeah, but it ain't. The 2-star is, what is it called? 2-star bourbon? With this little Sazerac bottle, very old Barton bottle. Probably is I didn't say it was very old Barton. I say probably is. But that's $18.99 a bottle, and you can get Stedman's for $18.99 a super bottle. Now you might be saying, no, it's flawed. Can't you see the flaws? No, I can't. Is it a dump liquor? In other words, is it Sazerac brands that aren't done right, that they dump, blend, sell it at 86 proof, aged after age 3 years. You know what I'm saying? Like, is it old charter that didn't come out right? Is it ancient age that didn't come out right? Is it what's the other ones they make? Barton that didn't come out right. Kentucky Tavern, Benchmark, Pappy Van Winkle, Old Forester, not Old Forester, Eagle Rare, and so on. Oh, E.J. Taylor, whatever. I don't know if it is. It's possible. However, whatever it is, it tastes good. That's the key. That's the key to the riddle. Does Stedman Select taste good? Yes. Does it taste really good? Yes. So whether it's a dump brand, you know, where they get rid of inferior that they could taste. See, I can't taste what they taste. I just don't know. But boy, that wood is there. It is on point. That is some charred oak right there. Yeah, come on. This stuff here is a winner all the way. This has got to be Stedman's, I hope. Morning, Ron, says Caleb, Jeep and Foodie. When will we see Old Overhaul? Next time I do, when I come back around to Rye, which is coming around, it's going to be Old Overhaul. So when I come back around to Rye, why ask Rye, say Rye. Why ask why, say Rye. I'm going to do Old Overhaul. I mean, enough's enough. We've been waiting too long and people are getting sick of waiting, and I am too. Jealous of your prices from California, says Casey Phantom. Yeah, it's cheap. $18.99 for this big, huge bottle. Last sip, and then I'm going to call it. I don't know, man. There's just something Flintstone vitamin E about it. And I'm not saying that's bad. See, when I say that, people say, "Ugh, I bet that's a horrible bourbon." It's not horrible. It's just different. It's strange. It's odd. It's unusual. It's peculiar. But you can't say definitively, "Oh, it's bad. It's bad." It's just, I've never tasted bourbon that tastes like that before or since. But I never had number 8 either. Tomato. But I do think Stedman Select is the winner. Even if I get it wrong, it's the winner because it's so much cheaper and you get so much more, right? It's $5 cheaper, so you're saving $5, but you're getting this much more. There's no argument there. Now, you might say, yeah, but we need a lot more reviewers than just you coming on here with Stedman Select and giving their evaluations. I agree. Me, I could be totally off track. I don't think so, but I could be. So yeah, I agree. There's how many other whiskey reviewers are doing Stedman Select? I'm not aware of any, but I want to see them. You know, so they're out there. If they start working it and reviewing it, then I'm going to watch. Okay, I guess John and I.W.A did it. Yeah, what's happening? You say, what's wrong with your memory? It's because of doing all these taste challenges. Well, could be. John and I.W.A had, but you know, me, John and I.W.A, but who else? I think we did an examination. I don't know. I'm losing it. I'm not really losing it. I just can't remember everything. Who can? All right. That's why we have reference books, or in this case, archives on YouTube where you can look up your content. And when you got thousands of videos, and I mean literally thousands, you can't remember everything. All right. Well, let's hope this doesn't say D12. I'm going to feel funny about it. Oh, it does say Dickel 12. I fooled myself. Well, it's a very confusing thing when you do these. When you do one against, if you do whiskey A against B, it'll taste one way. If you do A against E, and then against D and E and F, it'll never taste the same. So, but you'll notice I was kind of trying to delay, and I wasn't. That didn't sound like the voice of confidence, did it? And I was trying to think. You know, you could see me thinking. I'm like, could a 3-year-old bourbon have such a heavy char? And I knew Dickel makes the uses the alligator char, the level 4 char. So that had me thinking, you know, but then I'm over here talking about Flintstone vitamin. But see, once you get these fixations in your mind, you can't get away from them. You know, you start to delude yourself. You be deluded. That means believing the things that aren't true. A delusion is not the same as a hallucination. A delusion is believing things that aren't true. A hallucination is seeing things that are not there. Like you literally see things, but they don't exist. A delusion is you believe things that aren't true. All right. Jealous of your prices from Defender of the Voltron, Defender of the Universe says, morning, brother. Hello, morning to you. Well, it has been a success partially. I didn't tell them apart correctly, and I am embarrassed by that. But I'm not dismayed. But it has been a success because what did we show? We could take an $18.99 bottle of a huge bottle of bourbon, and you can confuse yourself and get it wrong compared to a $23 regular size bottle. And I can only taste for myself anyway, right? I can't drink for you and you can't drink for me. So you got to take it like that. But I'm very impressed with Stedman Select. Is it world class? It's a stupid question to even ask. It's obviously not world class. But is it really dang good? It is great when you take into account all those factors, which I just discussed. I'm not going to restate. I think it's a fantastic value. It's probably the best new bourbon value on the market in the last 3 years, and I do stick with that. It's not going to rock your world. It's not going to change your outlook on things as far as taste and aroma perception. But as far as value per ounce, it's just unbeatable. Unbeatable. And now we know that more and more people are going to be able to get it, because if it's at Total Wine here, it might be at Total Wine everywhere. Because a lot of people will tell me I can't go to Walmart and get liquor. Yeah, but you can go to Total Wine because it's certified as a liquor store. So you might be able to go. Now the opportunity exists where everybody can go to Total Wine and get Stedman Select. And then we can start having a lot more action toward that. Now, if people start reviewing it and their scores are not that good, am I going to be upset and take it personally? No. I'd be very curious to see what they say if you want to be, honestly. All right. Oh, can't believe I finished these off, and I didn't chug them either, but anyway, get ready for Blanton's later today. Be careful you don't end up like David Cassidy and get dementia due to alcohol. Watch your memory. He's joking. It's not really a joke. David Cassidy, though, he wasn't like doing Dawn Busters with a ounce and a half versus an ounce and a half. You know, he was consuming major amounts of liquor, and then he would say like, "I think I love you," and then Susan Day, and they had this tour bus, and Reuben Kincaid. It was a lot of problems, and lip syncing, and it'll get you down, and it's a game. All right, thanks for watching this video production. Oklahoma.